As the popular saying goes, there is a time to come and a time to leave. For me, the time to leave has come, as I had announced 4 years ago. I confess that it is with mixed emotions, but with a sense of personal satisfaction and humility that I bid this institution, our Parliament, farewell. Mr. Chairman, before I continue, I want to thank all the members of Parliament who have directed those kind words to me as being their teacher, their mentor, someone who they have learned a lot of the political history from, and I know they had to endure some of my long lectures and explanations, because as a teacher, I wanted to make sure that they understood. So, Chairman, before I continue as well, I want to thank all members of Parliament who are here present and those who are not present for the working relationship that we have enjoyed for the past 4 years. Sometimes very turbulent, sometimes we were on this side, sometimes we were on the other side, and as several have had little private jokes among themselves, I want to remind MP Heiliger Martin that the crab salad and the little bowl of sauce is still there ever since Christmas. And I told her this morning that I won't throw it out, just as a reminder that she, for that one time, because it was in the campaign mode, didn't drop by to pick it up. Mr. Chairman, I stand before St. Martin today and before this House of Parliament for the last time as a member of Parliament. And I'm wondering how to capture not just the past parliamentary term, but actually my 37 consecutive years as an elective office holder in the time, this brief time allotted to me. So, Chairman, I want to apologize in advance and crave your indulgence if I go over that time, limit a little bit, actually maybe quite a bit. And I also promise in advance that it will never, ever happen again after today. I entered the political arena, Mr. Chairman, 45 years ago as a young professional with a lot of fire in my belly and a clear vision in my mind. We were not called millennials at that time, but I was eager to change our political culture in a significant way that would replace fear with faith in our political leaders and institutions. I was eager to bring about meaningful change that would make St. Martiners proud of themselves and of their heritage. I became one of the founding members of the St. Martin Patriotic Movement, the SPM, as we launched on December 15th, 1978. But we were up against a juggernaut that had fiercely held on to political power for decades. It took me, Mr. Chairman, 8 years, and finally, in the election of 1987, together with the late Vance James Jr., I won one of the 2 seats for the SPA, or the SPM rather, in the then Island Council. I entered the field with no parachute for soft landing and had to learn the ropes quickly on the fly. I have participated in and won a seat in every local election ever since. For the past 37 years, I have been granted the privilege and honor to serve the people of St. Martin in various capacities, from Island Council member to commissioner in the Executive Council, to Member of Parliament representing St. Martin for 9 years in the Parliament of the now defunct Netherlands Antilles. I have also had a distinct honor of chairing this body, as well as being Minister of Romi and Prime Minister at one of the most trying periods of our modern history. My political career, Mr. Chairman, spans 2 generations, and today I look back with mixed feelings to see the road we have traveled thus far and the journey that still lies ahead. The SPM, led by Mr. Vance James Jr., of evergreen memory, took over the mantle of opposition from the Whipham in our first election in 1979. In those days, to be labeled opposition was not a good thing at all. As a matter of fact, one became a pariah, not only in society, but sometimes even within one's very own family. The Democratic Party, founded by the late Clem LaBega and led by the late Dr. Claude Watty, had a powerful grip on the reins of power, and very few people dared challenge them. The SPM fought gallantly to make the people understand that a strong opposition was most essential in strengthening the democratic process. The party morphed into the St. Martin Patriotic Alliance, SPA, when it became evident that we needed to expand our tent to accommodate all those who were opposed to the ironclad rule of the DP. It was while in opposition in the Island Council that I made popular the saying, "Let the people know." The people have a right to know, Mr. Chairman. And we exposed the government for not having any policy whatsoever, not for the granting of social aid, not for study financing, not for the issuing of doctor cards for medical assistance, or for issuing land in long lease, and even for hiring of civil servants. That phrase is now commonplace among the political class, as we heard this morning. Mr. Chairman, we fought several political battles with the SPM, culminating in the first ever coalition government on St. Martin, which we formed with the PDP after winning the elections of 1991 with 4 of the 9 seats, DP taking 3, and the newly formed PDP, led by Ms. Millicent de Weaver, won 2 seats. This coalition was very short-lived, however, a mere 6 weeks, for reasons I cannot get into now. However, it taught me a very important political lesson, that not only does politics make strange bedfellows, but also that there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies in politics, only permanent interest. That historic coalition of 1991, Mr. Chairman, ushered in an era of coalitions that continues up till today. We had to shed what some call the opposition mentality. We learned that you go into elections not to remain in opposition, but to get a chance to be in government.
RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, salesperson of the month, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be, RBC is a bank for all of you.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance is.
Mr. Chairman, I was nearly inclined to suggest or offer that I save my time for another time. And I say that to say that I want to firstly start out with thanking MP William Marlin for his contribution to St. Martin. The reason why I said I was inclined to suggest to put my time now for another occasion was because I thought it was quite fitting to have MP Marlin's address as one of the last for this particular occasion. And I do have the opportunity to do what I would like to do, say what I would like to say at another time. However, given the fact that I took the floor, I am going to use just a few brief moments from the time allotted to start, as I did, with a profound thank you to MP William Marlin. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And although in his speech, MP Marlin did not point out some of the persons to whom he obviously referred, in many of the times mentioned by MP Marlin, I was part. So that's why today, when I express thanks to him, it is also looking at the many, many encounters, collaboration, and coordination that we have been able to enjoy. MP William Marlin and myself, sometimes on the same side of the fence, other times on opposite sides, but much of the history, as explained, have seen both of us in a role. And so, Mr. Chairman, my proposal to this august body, following up on what we just heard, would be that we make a concerted effort to have another Know Your Political History book follow the one and the different editions that we have had. I would want to suggest to this august body that the information presented here be used as a stepping stone to get to that sequence of Know Your Political History. Because I am a fervent believer that without knowing how we got to where we are today is not a strengthening factor. We need to know our roots. We need to know our heritage in order to feel strong in the positions that we hold and aspire to today. So I concretely again repeat it, that I believe the information as provided by MP Marlin should be used as a source, combined with other sources and narratives to prepare a sequence to our Know Your Political History. MP William Marlin, thank you so very much for the times that you have just referred to and standing out in everyone's memory, who know about it, who heard about it, who saw it, is the fact that when St. Martin needed us most, we stood up together. There is not another more famous picture regarding our decision as a country or as an island territory at the time to become country than the one with the three political leaders standing hand in hand, hands held high, with the determination that we would seek what the people voted for in the referendum of 2000, and that was an autonomous country within the context of the Dutch Kingdom. So, Mr. Chairman, I hope that this is recorded, my suggestion, and that it is picked up. And I know I would have a thing or two to say about it, so I myself can commit to that happening. Mr. Chairman, before I go off in another direction and forget to thank each and every colleague who I have worked with all along, but in this past term, 2020 to 2024 in particular. Whether you have been in this body for all 4 years, part of the 4 years, I thank you for your contribution. I thank the entire staff of Parliament for their input all along and during the past 4 years in particular. And I say this in general to the staff of Parliament, I want you to recognize that whatever the position that you hold and have held in this Parliament, it made a difference, regardless to what your position was. Imagine how we functioned or not functioned when you were not there for your role in Parliament, and realize how important you in that role are. So thank you, all of you. I would not want to attempt to start to call names, forget someone who might have been here and no longer is with us in Parliament, or just forget a name. So to each and every one of you who fall under the staff and the umbrella of Parliament, thank you. You make a difference in the position that you hold in this Parliament towards the members of Parliament, and including myself. Mr. Chairman, I smile every time I hear, as a result of the election that we had in January, a reference to myself as, and I've heard many, many references, but I've also heard the comeback kid. Now, of course, I like the reference of kid. I like that. I like the sound of that, comeback kid. But the comeback, I think, is a misnomer. The thing is, that is not about coming back. I went nowhere. I was here. Regardless of my role, I was here, and I stayed here. And I took all that came with it in whatever role. So I don't know about the coming back, but I do know about the resilience, the determination, and just the insistence. And I heard several of my colleagues, especially the younger ones in terms of who have been here for a shorter period of time, refer to what it takes, what it took from them, of them. And clearly, it's about having the strength to endure that kept me going. Clearly, we heard it from MP Marlin as well and several others. And I just want to share that that is really what it takes. And sometimes it calls for standing alone and still enduring.
SXM, your social and health insurance is SXM, your social and health insurance is.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social and health insurance is.
At RBC, we know the roles you have to play can change quickly. Whether it's a homeowner, a new parent, today's head chef, salesperson of the month, or the family chauffeur. Whatever life asks you to be, RBC is a bank for all of you.
The specifications, in short, we're looking at the 200 guilders, the 100 guilders, the 50 guilders, the 20 guilders, and the 10 guilders. And for the coins, it will be 5 guilders, 1 guilder, 50 cents, 25 cents, 10 cents, and 5 cents. And finally, also the 1 cent. What you see is that the 250 guilder that we have now will be replaced by the 20 guilder, and the 25 guilder will be replaced by the 20 guilder. Dit is all done in line with the regeling gemeenschappelijk geldstelsel, or the legislation called common currency for both Curaçao and Sint Maarten. A little bit more about the specifications. The substrate will remain cotton, albeit in a different composition that is what is currently there, and the coins as well. The coins, the alloy will change, and we will work with a mix which is readily available and more commonly used. The banknotes, the dimensions will remain the same. The reason why we've done that is that there are a lot of things that need to change, and specifically if you look at the commercial banks. So they have to adapt their systems, they have to adapt their ATMs to read security features, and leaving the banknote in the same size will be one thing less for them to worry about. The coins will be round. I'm not sure if the public remembers that there is actually a 50-cent coin, and a 50-cent coin is square. It will be much easier for all the vending machines and all the coin readers to have all of them round. So we will be going to round coins for all denominations, and we will make sure that all these coins will be distinguished from the current currency, from the Antillean guilder, and also from other currencies and countries that are usually or known on the islands. So just an example that I will take for Sint Maarten, a guilder coin will not look anything like a 25 cents USD. So you will be able to distinguish that quite fairly. An exchange period, what will that look like? Because one currency will come in and the other currency will go out. We will give you 30 years for that. The first year will be at the commercial banks, and the following 29 years, you can do it at the central bank, both in Curacao and St. Martin. Important to note is that all AML and CFT guidelines, is anti-money laundering guidelines, and counter-financing terrorism guidelines will have to be adhered to, because it cannot be that the exchange of a currency will be used as a means to bring illegally obtained money into the banking system. Also, a question that is also asked is this Caribbean guilder. What is it? What does this even mean? What does that mean for the value of my money? Actually, nothing will change. A guilder will be exactly the same value as a Antillean guilder. So a Caribbean guilder will be a one-on-one exchange to an Antillean guilder. So let me say that once again, your Caribbean guilder will be exactly the same value as your Antillean guilder. So you will not lose any money in that transition or in that change. Also, how does that mean to the outside world? What does it mean? Will my money be any less worth abroad? No, that will not. Your dollar, the exchange for a dollar at the moment is a dollar is worth 179 ANG. And in the new situation, $1 will be worth 179 XCG. So in that sense too, nothing will change. It will be a similar transition. To make sure that the circulation is done as smoothly as possible, we intend to do this in about 3 months. There will be a co-circulation period of 3 months, whereby it is the intention that you will pay with your Antillean guilders, and that any exchange that you have will be given back in XCG. So in that period, we will be taking as much currency out of circulation as possible. For the vending machines and the cash payment terminals, that will be done in a period thereafter, so to give everybody the time to adapt. It is important that from day one that we go over from the Antillean guilder to the Caribbean guilder, that the ATMs and the banks and all the payment systems and the international payment systems, that will be done with XCG. So when we go over, I'm throwing out the dates, the 1st of January 2024, that's not, just throwing out a date as an example, that will be a hard change. So from your ATM, once you go to the ATM, you will be receiving Caribbean guilder.